My fiancé cheated on me with my sister, so I made them regret ever meeting. There's an art to revenge. People think it's about rage, messy, loud, chaotic. But no. Real revenge is quiet, precise. It's a surgeon's scalpel, not a sledgehammer. The first cut barely bleeds, but it changes everything. I made my first. Cut that Friday. Adam had his weekly dinner with his coworker friends. Some kind of poker night. No girls allowed energy. I played the role of the understanding fiancé, like I always had. Kissed him goodbye at the door, told him to have fun, and smiled like a woman who didn't know she was being humiliated. As soon as he left, I got to work. The first thing I did was log into our shared wedding registry account and export the full list of guests and our SVPs. I created a duplicate Google Doc and renamed it Final Guest List Private, shared only with a burner Gmail account I had just created. Truth dropped 2024 at outlook.com. That would be my staging area, a digital war room. Then I downloaded every digital asset related to the wedding, the save the date photos, our engagement announcement, the rehearsal dinner schedule, and the seating chart. I planned to weaponize all of it. The irony was that I had done most of the work anyway. The venues, the food tasting, the playlist, all me. Adam barely lifted a finger unless it was for Rachel. Next, I made an anonymous Instagram account at wedding_burnbook. No followers, no posts, not yet, just a name. Just to see. By midnight, I had written the outline for a wedding day expose, a full story, complete with photos, dates, and receipts. One that I could send to every person who ever toasted to our relationship. A story that wouldn't just shame them, it would ruin them, but I wasn't ready to post it. Not yet. I wanted to twist the knife first. The next day, I invited Rachel over. Bridesmaid emergency, I texted. Need to finalize dress colors. Can you swing by? She showed up with that fake shipper voice she always used when she thought she was better than me. She sat at my kitchen island, sipping the matcha I made her and scrolling through bridal shoe options on her phone like we weren't dancing on the edge of a cliff. I'm thinking champagne for the satin, I said, holding up two samples. But maybe Dusty Rose for the accents. She nodded absently. Whatever you love, it's your day, your day. The way she said it made me want to slap her across the face. Instead, I smiled. Thanks for being here, Rach. I know it's a lot. She gave me that same sweet, sugary smile she's used since we were kids. Of course, you're my sister. I'd do anything for you. I leaned over and hugged her. Tight to tight. The hug of someone about to set a fuse. That night, I sent the first email from the burner account. Just one. To Adam's boss. Hi. I think you should know your employee Adam Cartwright has been using company travel reimbursements for personal affairs. One of the hotel stays from last quarter wasn't business related. I've attached the proof. Feel free to keep this anonymous. Attached, the hotel invoice and a cropped screenshot of Adam's half-naked selfie sent to Rachel from that exact hotel room. Dated and time-stamped. No name in the message. No connection to me, just a quiet whisper into the right ear. By Monday, Adam came home pissed. The hell is going on at work? He snapped as he threw his keys on the table. Someone filed an anonymous complaint about me. They pulled me into HR for 2 hours. I looked up from my laptop, innocent. What? Why? He shook his head. Something about a hotel charge. I told them it was a billing mistake. They bought it, I think. Just ... stress I don't need. I walked over, kissed his cheek. Babe, I'm sorry. People are crazy. Inside, I was beaming. That was the first cut. He was bleeding. He just didn't know how deep yet. I had 3 more cuts planned before the main event. Each one would be subtle. Each one would destabilize the story they were telling themselves, that they were untouchable, that they got away with it. I didn't want to just punish them. I wanted them to live in the wreckage they made. So I planned the next move. Rachel's boyfriend. He was the kind of guy who posted motivational quotes and lifted twice a day. Loyal to a fault, if I could make him snap. Publicly, It would make waves. Especially if it happened before a certain engagement dinner. I never thought I'd be the type of person to calmly plan revenge. But maybe nobody thinks they are until it's the only thing keeping them from falling apart. 2 months before my wedding, I thought my life was nearly perfect. I had the men I loved, the Pinterest board turned real-life wedding almost fully paid off, and a sister who, despite our differences, was finally starting to feel like family again. I should have known that anything that neat, that polished, had to be hiding something rotten underneath. It started with a phone call. Not the cheating reveal, no, that came later. This was just the first crack. I was driving home from a florist appointment, high on caffeine and bridal adrenaline, when I got a call from the hotel where we were supposed to block rooms for out-of-town guests. "Hi, Ms. Jennings. We just wanted to confirm your fiancé's stay last weekend. Was that still part of the block? Or should we bill separately?" My foot lifted from the gas. "Sorry, his what?" The concierge double-checked. "He stayed here last Saturday. He checked in alone, but there was a second guest listed the next morning. I told them to bill it separately." My voice never wavered. I even thanked them. I don't know why I didn't call him right away. Maybe part of me already knew. Maybe. A deeper, smarter part of me had been waiting for a reason to look. That night, I waited until Adam was asleep to check his phone. We never had each other's passwords. We trusted each other. Or I did. He kept it under his pillow, paranoid, even in sleep. When I pulled it out, his thumbprint unlocked it on the second try. There weren't many texts. He was too careful for that. But Instagram DMs, another story. There she was, my sister, Rachel. The last photo he sent her was a mirror selfie from that hotel room. He was shirtless. She replied with a fire emoji and, "God help me, I miss you already." The timestamps told the rest of the story. It had been going on for months. Here's the part where I tell you I woke him up and screamed. That I dumped a glass of water on his face or threw the phone at his chest. But I didn't. I put the phone back under his pillow. Went to the bathroom, locked the door. I didn't cry. I didn't throw up. I just sat on the edge of the tub and stared at my reflection until it didn't feel like me anymore. Then I opened notes on my phone and wrote, "Day 1, hotel, room 403, Saturday." The next morning, I made him breakfast, wore one of his favorite shirts, acted distracted, the way brides-to-be are supposed to be when they're planning centerpieces and managing RSVPs. He didn't notice a thing. That was the first moment I realized how little he saw me. Rachel was trickier. She was always the one who could cry on command, who could lie with an open face and perfect sincerity. We'd grown up on opposite ends of a very uneven household. She was the golden child. I was the planner, the fixer. So I invited her to brunch. We talked about the bachelorette party she was supposed to plan. She asked about the dress fitting. I asked her how things were with her new job, pretending like I hadn't already seen her latest pay stub in the trash can, the one she lied about. When she went to the bathroom, I unlocked her phone with the passcode I remembered from high school. It hadn't changed. 509, her birthday. She deleted the messages with Adam regularly, but forgot about her notes app. One note, start at the top. Excuses if she finds out Adam said he loved me first. It wasn't planned. You were always too busy with your job. It just happened once. Lie if needed. That note destroyed whatever part of me still hoped it was a misunderstanding. And it gave me fuel. I texted her boyfriend that night. Just as simple. "If you want the truth about Rachel, call me." He did. I didn't give him everything. Not yet. Just enough. Revenge works best slow. By the end of that week, I had screenshots of Adam's DMs photo evidence from the hotel, 2 voice recordings, Rachel talking to her best friend about sneaking around, and a digital backup of the guest list, registry, and honeymoon itinerary. Because when I finally ruined their lives, I wanted to do it with a smile, and I wanted to watch. There's something sacred about a dinner party. The clinking of silverware, the gentle tension of small talk, the silent performance everyone puts on to seem just a little better than they are. Smiles stretched tight over lies, toasts that pretend. Nothing's broken underneath. That's why I chose it. The wedding dinner, 2 months before the big day, with both of our families in one room. It was the perfect stage. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to make a scene. I just needed to let the cracks speak for themselves. We held it at Adam's parents' place, a big colonial-style house with a backyard strung up with white lights and a long table dressed in linen, like something out of a Williams-Sonoma catalog. Lisa, his mom, was in hostess heaven. She'd been dying for an excuse to put out the real flatware. My parents arrived first. They always do. My dad doesn't trust GPS, and my mom insists on bringing homemade desserts to catered events, like she's trying to win a contest no one entered. Rachel showed up alone. She didn't look like herself. Her eyes were puffy, mascara stiff around the corners. Her usually perfect blow was pinned up in a messy bun that looked more panic than fashion. When she hugged me, it was tight to tight, and I felt her linger. She hadn't spoken to me since the Eric incident. I returned the hug like nothing had changed. "Glad you're here," I whispered, and I meant it. Adam came in late, talking on the phone with his boss, or pretending to, more likely. I watched him pace the edge of the patio while everyone else started to gather around the table. I knew why he looked tense. 2 days ago, he got a follow-up from HR. Turns out, when they believed his story about the hotel mix-up, they were just being polite. His travel reimbursements were frozen. They were reviewing his expense history. I hadn't even needed to escalate the complaint. All I had to do was plant the seed. The system did the rest. Dinner began with toasts. Lisa raised a glass too. The couple we all love. And my dad added something about how glad he was that Adam was joining the family. Rachel sat at the opposite end of the table, silent, picking at her salad like it might explode if she made the wrong move. When the speeches ended, Lisa brought out the box. "Look what I brought." She beamed. The engagement announcement, the one from the paper. I printed a few copies for everyone. Adam and I were smiling in the photo. I was wearing a pale blue dress around my neck, a delicate gold pendant, a gift from my grandmother. Lisa handed the photo to Rachel. That's when it happened. She stared at it for maybe 3 seconds, too long. Then her eyes darted to me, then back to the photo, then down to her lap. She knew what was coming. I smiled gently. "Hey, Rach, doesn't that necklace look familiar?" She froze. I reached into my purse, pulled out the envelope, and slid it across the table to her. She didn't move. "Go ahead," I said, my voice light. "It's just a fun little throwback." Lisa looked confused. My mother suspicious. My father oblivious. Adam. He was staring at Rachel like he suddenly didn't recognize her. She opened the envelope. Inside, the photo of me in the necklace and a screenshot. Rachel in bed, wearing the same necklace, posed, smirking. Her caption said, "Stole this from my sister's place. Think she noticed?" Silence. You could have heard a pin drop in the grass. Adam stood up so fast his chair toppled backward. "What the hell is this?" Rachel looked around like she was drowning. It's not what you think." She stammered. My mother clutched the edge of the table. My dad finally looked up from his plate. Lisa blinked, confused. "Wait, what's going on?" "I think Rachel should explain," I said calmly. "Since it's her caption." Adam turned to me, pale. How did you get this?" I ignored him. Rachel slammed the envelope shut. "You're insane," she hissed. "You set me up." "Oh, honey," I smiled. "You did that yourself." I stood, picked up my glass. "Here's the truth," I said. "Since we're all here and pretending to be a family, Rachel and Adam have been sleeping together for at least 6 months. I found out 2 weeks ago. And I've been collecting evidence ever since." Gasps. My mother's hand went to her mouth. Adam shouted, "She's lying." I pulled out my phone, held it up. "Would you like to hear your voice, Adam? Or maybe I should read some of the messages you sent her while I was picking out our wedding invitations." Lisa's face crumpled. Rachel stood, tears streaming. You're sick, I shrug. And you're sloppy. I turn to the table. I want you all to enjoy your meal. I won't be staying. I walked out, calm, dignified. My heels never caught in the grass. My shoulders never dipped. I didn't slam the door behind me. I didn't need to. I'd already burned the house down. Sometimes the best revenge doesn't come from your own hand. It comes from giving the truth to someone with just enough emotion to light a fire, then sitting back to watch it burn. That was the plan with Eric, Rachel's boyfriend. They'd been together about a year, give or take. He wasn't flashy like Adam, kind of quiet, but dependable. A steady paycheck, 2 dogs, and a plan to buy a house. Rachel used to joke that he was boring boyfriend material, which always made me uncomfortable, even before I knew she was screwing my fiancé behind his back. The thing about boring guys, they're not stupid. They just don't make noise until it matters. So I gave him something to make noise about. It was a Thursday when I sent it. Not the full file, not yet. Just a teaser. One screenshot from Adam's phone showing a blurry selfie of Rachel in what I could only describe as one of my robes. Her text below the image read, "Wish I could wake up to you every morning." I created a new burner email, truthdroperic@proton.me, and titled the message simply, "She's not who you think she is." No body text, just the photo. I knew he'd confront her. I just didn't know how quickly. 3 hours later, Rachel called me. I didn't pick up. Then she texted, "Did you tell Eric anything? He's freaking out. What the hell is going on?" I waited exactly 10 minutes before replying. "I don't know what you're talking about." Her next message, he says someone sent him a pic of me in your robe. What the F **** is happening? I replied with, "Why would you be in my robe, Rach?" No response. Then 5 minutes later, "Are you seriously accusing me of something right now? I'm your sister." I didn't answer. I wanted her to sit with it, the not knowing, the erosion of trust, brick by brick. The next morning, Adam came home early from work. He looked off, jaw tight, like he'd been grinding his teeth all night. He sat at the kitchen counter while I sliced strawberries like nothing was wrong. "You haven't talked to Rachel, have you?" he asked, casual but clipped. I turned, eyebrows up. "No, not since earlier this week." "Why?" He shrugged. "Eric apparently lost it on her last night. Said someone sent him a photo. Something weird. She says he's accusing her of cheating." I let my knife pause mid-slice. "Cheating?" I repeated, like it was the first I'd heard of it. He nodded. "Yeah, she said it might have been photoshopped or something. I don't know. It sounded nuts. Eric dumped her. Apparently, I covered my mouth." "Oh my God." Adam leaned back in his chair. "She's a mess." "Good." I popped a strawberry slice into my mouth. "I'll call her later." Poor thing, I didn't call her. Instead, I followed her Finsta. She thought it was private. I found it 2 years ago when she accidentally liked one of her own posts. From her main account, the Finsta was silent all day. Until one A.M. She posted a black screen with the text, "Don't trust anyone, not even your blood." I screenshotted it, added it to the folder. There was a reason I pushed the Eric domino first, because the engagement dinner was only 1 week away. It was supposed to be our joint celebration with both families, the first time everyone would be in the same room together. Adam's parents, my parents, Rachel, her now ex, if she dared to bring him. All of us pretending, but I was going to shatter that illusion quietly, beautifully. Which meant one more seed to plant. 2 days before the dinner, I texted Adam's mom. Just a sweet message. "Hi Lisa, I was wondering if you could bring a few extra copies of the engagement announcement for the dinner. I want to put one in a little photo book I'm making." She was thrilled, of course. Always eager to please, she responded, "Absolutely. We have a whole stack from the paper. I'll bring extras." Perfect, because in that same photo announcement, the one with Adam and me smiling in front of the lake, I had found the most poetic thing, the necklace I was wearing in that photo. Rachel had worn it in one of her selfies to Adam. That necklace had only ever been in my apartment. I printed them side by side, put them in an envelope, labeled it a matching set. It was almost time. I had 4 people targeted. Rachel, Adam, Adam's boss, Eric. No, I was ready to take it public. Subtly. Class ALY. Not with screaming or glass dash breaking. With silence. With photos. With inignorable truths. And I knew exactly when to drop the match. I didn't cry. Not in the car. Not when I got home. Not even as I changed into my sweats, washed the makeup off my face, and sat on the couch in the dark, listening to the soft tick of the wall clock. The silence felt good. I had imagined that moment, the dinner, the envelope, the reveal, 100 different ways. But none of them felt as clean as the way it actually happened. No screaming, no hair pulling. Just truth, cold and precise, like a scalpel. I had opened the wound. Now I just had to watch it bleed. The first text came 30 minutes later. Adam, you embarrassed me in front of my entire family. What the hell is wrong with you? I didn't reply. He followed up with a call. I declined it. Then another. Then another. Then I turned my phone off and went to bed. The next morning, my mother showed up at my door. She didn't knock, just used the spare key she's had since I moved in. She looked torn between rage and heartbreak. You couldn't have warned us, she asked, arms crossed. You just dropped that bomb at dinner. I stared at her. Would it have made a difference? She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. She looked older than she had the day before, like the weight of what she now knew was already pressing her down. I raised you girls better than this, she said finally. You raised me better than this, I corrected. Rachel clearly missed that lesson. She didn't argue. That afternoon, Rachel called. I let it ring. Then she texted. We need to talk, please. I'm sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. Can we meet? You're still my sister. The last one made me laugh out loud. It was such a desperate, pitiful thing to say after everything she'd done. After she'd slept with my fiancé, I blocked her number. Then I blocked her on Instagram, Facebook, Venmo, everything. Erased her like a bad download. 2 days later, Eric sent me EDM. I heard what you did. You okay? I hadn't expected him to reach out. Getting there, I replied, they both deserve worse. Let me know if I can help twist the knife. I didn't respond, but I screenshotted the message. It made me feel not so alone in it. Turns out he'd moved out of their apartment that same night. Told mutual friends that Rachel cheated with her sister's fiancé, of all people, and then ghosted everyone they knew together. Respect. Adam's silence lasted 5 days. Then the knock came. It was 9 p.m. and I was halfway through a bottle of wine when I heard it. I knew it was him even before I opened the door. You just know the sound of someone who doesn't belong on your porch anymore. I opened it a crack. He looked terrible and shaven, dark circles under his eyes. He smelled like whatever cheap cologne he used to wear before I made him switch. I just want to talk, he said. Why? I asked, so you can lie to me again. He looked down at his shoes. I never meant to hurt you. That phrase again. I wanted to laugh. You didn't just hurt me, Adam. You humiliated me. You planned a life with me while screwing my sister behind my back. I made a mistake, he said quietly. No, a mistake is forgetting our anniversary. You made a series of choices. He shifted. I ended it with her. The night of the dinner, I smiled faintly. Congratulations. I deserve that, he said. I stepped back. You don't deserve anything from me. He looked at me, finally really looked at me. Do you still love me? I paused. Then, the woman who loved you died the moment she saw that necklace on Rachel's chest, and I closed the door. That night, I went into our wedding folder, the digital graveyard of a life we were supposed to build, and started deleting the playlist. Gone, the registry, deleted. The Pinterest board, erased, The guest list archived, but one thing I kept, the speech I'd written. The one I was supposed to read at the reception. I opened it and I rewrote it, line by line, not for a wedding, but for a video. It was never about going viral. I wasn't trying to make a spectacle of my pain, but some truths need to be shared not for attention. Not for pity, but because silence protects the wrong people, and I was done protecting anyone but myself, though. Video took 3 nights to finish, not because I needed time to film. That took maybe 2 hours, but because I kept rewriting the voiceover, editing the tone, cutting every line that made me sound bitter, and leaving only the ones that made me sound free. I wasn't out for sympathy. I wasn't even out for revenge anymore. What I wanted was closure. And if I could give that to other people in similar situations, the strength to walk away, to expose the liars, to feel whole again, then so be it. I uploaded it to YouTube, a private link. Then I posted it to Reddit. Art true of my just an anonymous account. No name, no location, no identifying details. The title was simple. My fiancé cheated on me with my sister. I found out 2 months before our wedding. Here's what I did. The video opened with a photo of us. Me and Adam. The engagement shoot. He was smiling wide, arm wrapped around me. I looked blissfully stupid. Then it faded to black. My voice began. They always say the worst betrayal comes from those closest to you, but what happens when the knife in your back is held by the 2 people you trusted most? The footage rolled out like a documentary. Text messages, photos, side-by-side shots, date-stamped receipts, screenshots of call logs, a few blurred-out names. And the envelope, I filmed it all. No crying, no shaking voice. Just calm, steady narration of exactly what happened. Then came the dinner reveal, not the full moment. I didn't record it, obviously, but I reenacted it. I showed the documents I handed over. I described the silence. I described Adam's face when he saw the truth printed in color on high-quality paper in front of both families. Then came the final line. I thought my life ended when I found out. But it turns out that was just the part where I started living for myself. I hit upload. The post exploded. 100 upvotes in the first hour. 500 by midday. By the time I checked it again that night, it had over 12,000 upvotes and was trending on multiple subs. The comments were overwhelming. The calmness in your voice was chilling. I've never heard revenge sound so elegant. This is the closure I didn't know I needed. I hope they see this and feel everything. People shared their own stories. Stories of betrayal, family drama, broken engagements, quiet heartbreak. I read for hours, replying to some, saving others. I wasn't alone. Not anymore. 2 days later, Rachel texted me again. She'd clearly found the post. You put our family on blast. The internet is calling me a homewrecker. My boss saw it. Do you understand what you've done? You're the sick one. You need help. I blocked her new number, too. She could scream into the void. I was done being her audience. Adam, surprisingly, never said a word about it. Maybe he saw it. Maybe he did and single quotes T. Maybe someone sent it to him and he watched it in the dark, just like I once did, and felt the slow cold shame crawl down his spine. Good. The fallout didn't stop there. Lisa, his mother, emailed me a simple 4-line message. I had no idea. I'm so sorry you went through this alone. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. You deserved better than both of them. I cried when I read it, not because I needed her forgiveness, but because I never expected her kindness. A week later, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside, the gold pendant necklace. Mine. The one Rachel wore in the photo. No note. Just the necklace. A final admission of guilt. A peace offering. A pathetic attempt at closure. Didn't matter. I dropped it in a donation bin the next day. Let someone else give it a better story. I wasn't sure what came next. I wasn't planning a comeback arc. No dating apps. No dramatic haircut. But I did finally go to the beach by myself. I walked along the shore barefoot, wind in my face, nothing in my pockets. And for the first time in what felt like years, I felt light. People talk about it like it's something you find, like it's waiting at the end of some long hallway behind a door labeled answers. But it's not like that. At least, not for me. Closure wasn't in a conversation. It wasn't in a final scream or apology. It was in the moment I realized I didn't care if they ever said sorry. That was the closure. I wasn't angry anymore. Not because I forgave them, but because I no longer needed anything from them. And that was the sweetest freedom of all. A month passed. Then two, the post stopped trending. Life moved on, my inbox quieted, but I still got the occasional DM, strangers thanking me for telling the story, for doing what they couldn't, for reminding them that revenge didn't have to be loud to be devastating. Someone sent me a message I'll never forget. You didn't just burn the bridge, you turned the ashes into art. That line stayed with me. Rachel disappeared from social media. One day she was everywhere, posting mirror selfies and brunch pics and sunsets with hollow captions. The next, nothing. No news stories, no engagement, just vanished. I don't know if she left out of shame or just couldn't take the backlash. I didn't really care. A mutual friend said she moved out of state, transferred to a different branch at work. I imagine she walks around now with her head down, waiting for people to recognize her from that story. Always wondering who knows. Let her live with it. Let her carry it like I carried her betrayal. Adam, he got demoted. Turns out his travel mistake was just the first red flag. The HR investigation expanded. A few financial irregularities came up. Nothing criminal, but enough to cost him credibility. His boss didn't fire him, but they moved him to a department with no client-facing responsibilities and zero upward mobility. From what I hear, he's still showing up in a suit every morning, still pretending he's important, still living a version of the life he thinks he deserves. I hope he stares at that empty spot in his closet where the tuxedo should have hung. I hope every wedding invite he gets feels like a punch. I hope he knows that I never once regretted leaving him. Me. I didn't just move on. I rebuilt. I left the apartment we picked out together and found a new place closer to the city. Smaller, but brighter. Fewer memories stuck in the walls. I painted every room myself, even changed the locks twice. Just for good measure, I started writing again. I didn't post online, not really, but I kept a journal. And in those pages, I poured out the kind of love I deserved. The kind I never got from him. It wasn't about bitterness. It was about clarity. I started dating too slowly, carefully. The bar's higher now, so high most people don't even come close. And that's okay. I'd rather be alone than betrayed. The last wedding-related email I received was from the venue. They had held our deposit, hoping we'd reschedule. They were nice about it, offered a partial refund or a credit. I declined both. Instead, I asked them to donate the amount to a local women's shelter. It felt right. Let something good come out of something that tried to break me. Sometimes I still see the necklace in my mind. That one stupid detail that unraveled it all. The careless theft. The photo. The arrogance. Funny how small things become turning points. I don't dwell on it, but I remember it. Because that memory isn't about pain anymore. It's about power. My power, the moment I chose not to scream. Not to beg, but to walk away. With my head high and my soul intact. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Betrayal doesn't define you. Silence protects no one. And revenge, the real kind, isn't about hurting them. It's about healing yourself in a way they'll never understand. I hope they think of me every day, but I don't think of them at all.